Howard Stern Show.
Adam, the funny thing is, I think people, I remember one time I was at a bar, and I won't say who, but this famous actress was drunk, and I brought up that I'm friends with Adam Levine, like someone else, or it wasn't like me like name dropping,
right.
and this was years ago.
Yeah.
Genuinely, my dad moved to LA when he was 14 when his dad died, went in to check into the junior high, and he was sat next to Adam's dad. Like, they didn't meet through some like bullshit Hollywood scenario.
So you just mentioned, my friend Adam Levine.
We're literally like brothers, basically.
Right.
And so, even though we have wildly different, our lives went in wildly different directions, like, he's a beautiful person.
He was one of your best friends.
Yeah, and like an older brother to me, very much so. So, like, I mentioned, she's like, oh, like, your fake Hollywood, like, friendships or whatever. And I just was like, like, this guy's actually my friend. It's just very funny that you would think we became friends through some like Hollywood channel. But I don't know what. So
you were talking about you meet this girl at a bar, and you mentioned the fact that Adam Levine.
Oh yeah, I just thought it was shitty. I just wanted to clarify that we're not friends through some like Hollywood prism or something. It was a bad story. I wish I had a time machine.
But getting married, but marrying. First of all, that's some wife, that Behati Prinsloo. Madon.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
He somehow found such an attractive woman who actually is like an unbelievable person. It just doesn't make any sense.
Like, usually you get one or the other.
I think, like, when you win the lottery and become him, you don't usually win the lottery again and find, like, the most amazing woman
Did you ever think he'd get married? I mean, this dude gets so much pussy that it's ridiculous.
No, I did, because he loves having people around, and in his family. He's having a kid, and I so see him loving that part of his life, having kids around, and he likes Adam. Some people don't like to be alone.
Yeah.
And Adam is always surrounded by people. He takes care of so many people. He's loved. So
he's connected to people. He enjoys that. He
loves people, and they love him.
So when he calls you on the phone and says, "Hey, would you marry myself and Behati?"
Yeah.
Behati, what a name, Behati, and she's a hottie. I begged him to get a surrogate for that kid, because who wants to ruin Behati's body? You know what I mean? But I hope you put that in the wedding vows. So when someone asks you to marry them, is that pressure for you, or
yes,
it is? Because what the fuck? I mean, it's probably tons of celebrities.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
The last thing I want to do at
his wedding.
I want to enjoy his wedding also. I'm like, then I'm thinking, like, then you become, you're like, I'm writing all these things, and I realize I have no jokes in the whole thing, because I'm just trying to be thoughtful and respectful and loving to these people who asked me to do this main honor. And then the fucking sick egomaniac inside, he goes, well, I gotta kill a little bit too, and then Adam's like, yeah, you should be funny, like, be funny, and I'm like,
Jonah Hill.
But now there's even more pressure, because now you got to be a little bit witty, and you got to do all of this.
Yeah, and then
it does ruin the wedding for you.
I wrote like one joke, I think, or two jokes, and that I knew would work, and then I was just trying to be like.
Did you bring in other people to write for you, or did you do the whole thing yourself? Did you bring in a team?
No, I just wrote.
How much do you charge him for this wedding?
$275,000 euro.
No, but it does ruin the wedding for you, doesn't it? Because
I still had an amazing time, but afterwards, like, I finished the thing, I'm fucking like drained.
Yeah.
I left the party after like 30 minutes.
Was it a Jewish ceremony?
Well, no, because her dad is a South African preacher, which was also very funny, because he's like, yeah, like, at some point, Behati's dad's got to come up and do some, like, actual religious stuff or whatever. And I'm like,
what?
And I'm like, yeah, great. Like, why doesn't he just do this, And he comes up and he kills it, and then he just kind of goes to sit back down. He, like, looks back at me like, that's how it's done, motherfucker.
Yeah. Fuck
like,
you.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe I'm not in the movies, but I know how to make a wedding ceremony.
Like, do you have trouble picking what the vows are you're going to lock them into, or?
I just talked about what they're both like. They are very easy people to say nice things about, because they actually, some weddings you go to and you're like, these fucking people are going to get divorced in like a month.
Right.
Like
you figure Adam Levine's not going to be able to stay married.
They love each other, and they match each other very, very much so. It wasn't false, know.
Do you catch yourself eyeing Behati up? Like, I mean, is she wearing a titty dress, or is she going super conservative with that thing?
No, but my dad, my my dad and I were laughing because like all her friends are like models.
Oh my
like,
God!
All the bridesmaids and
what's
like
the strategy?
Guests, you know, you're like
Jonah. What's the strategy on that? Do you go stag to a wedding like that because you know all her hot friends are going to be there?
I was there with my whole family.
I see.
My sister, my mom, my dad, my brother, they were all there. So it was like,
it wasn't
I
sexual.
was with family. You know.
So you didn't bring a date?
I did not know.
Did you hit on any models?
Dude, honestly, I know you're going to think I'm lying or whatever.
I never think you're lying.
I was terrified to do that. I was genuinely and then we're like, you know, when someone gets married and you're all hanging out before, all the groomsmen and stuff hang out beforehand, and they're all like having fun and like whatever.
You're nervous.
And I'm like going over my shit in my head, like what I'm going to say. Just,
Did you really leave like a half hour after the ceremony was over because you were so drained?
Yeah, I left very early on.
Oh, shit.
I do remember, I think the joke I wrote was like, you know, Adam and I grew up together or something, and you know, it's so nice to see all the people we grew up like skateboarding with growing up here, like Gene and Stevie Nicks and Robert Downey Jr. You know, I was kind of like giving him shit because they were like really famous people at his wedding.
Speaking of skateboarding, your dream was to be a professional skateboarder, but you kind of sucked at it, right?
Yeah, I never got great. My movie is about skateboard culture, like coming of age in skateboard culture in mid-90s Los Angeles, but I would film. So that was a big way how I got into loving all this stuff, was I would film the better skateboarders, and then if it would rain or at night, we would make like little short films and stuff like that, you know, because we had a camera and a bunch of charismatic kids, so it was like...
By the way, when you talk about kids growing up, you know, and Adam was your friend, are you saying that in your school there was a Robert Downey Jr. type? And
no, the joke was
No, but I'm saying there were other famous kids there, right? I mean, who grew up to have careers in Hollywood.
In my school, I mean, not that I knew... you know who went to my school was... Spencer Pratt from The Hills.
No kidding.
Yeah, he was like the really famous dude from my class.
That's so funny.
But Kate Hudson was older than me.
But she went there too.
Yeah, and she's really nice.
The Howard Stern Show.